Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, June 15, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more weather lovers or rain lovers just like you guys, so that we can build this weather community in time for the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October, so that we can keep everyone safe. Share this video with your friends, your coworkers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at this tweet from Andy Hazelton. He's actually a scientist at the NOAA. That's the same company that has to do with the National Hurricane Center. And from time to time he makes some accurate posts on Twitter about what's to come in the Atlantic hurricane season. And we can see that he posted here at about 5:12 p.m. today, stating, interesting potential spin up in the Southwest Atlantic next week. Some slight easterly shear, but there's a solid outflow channel. Dry air in the environment will be a big limiter and probably keep the system small too. Waters are warm enough, although cooler than further south. So he's highlighting this system right here, a possible area of low pressure that could maybe develop into a tropical depression or storm off the east coast of Florida right there. But that's not what we're going to be focusing on. Considering that we're in Jamaica, we're going to be focusing on all of the greens right here. All of this green is representing what we see on the title of the map, the relative humidity. So we can see we're going to be getting way up in there. A lot of humid air. We know how the humid air affects us here in Jamaica. If it's not gonna feel even warmer than normal, even stickier than normal, it could bring some amount of rainfall, especially with that southeasterly flow that has been persistent, all courtesy of the Central American gyre that is definitely doing a number on Central America as we speak. We're gonna be talking some more about that, but just to let you know, even more humid days are coming and some more rainfall is expected for a section of southern and eastern Jamaica. According to the U.S. National Hurricane Center's Atlantic Tropical Weather Discussion, we're going to be looking at the special features right here, so let's read together. So it states here, heavy rainfall over Central America and Mexico. A Central American gyre, CAG, which is a broad low to mid-level cyclonic circulation centered over the Central American continent, continues to develop. Widespread deep convection driven by the CAG is expected this weekend through Friday, June 21. Heavy rainfall with this event is expected along the Pacific coast of Chiapas state of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and northwestern Nicaragua. This heavy rainfall may cause life-threatening flash floods and mudslides, especially in areas of hilly terrain. Heavy rainfall is also possible across Quintana Roo, Yucatan, Tabasco, and Veracruz this week. And they've also highlighted something here. A Central Caribbean tropical wave that was over the Southwest Caribbean lost clear definition as it was absorbed into the broad low to mid-level cyclonic circulation associated with the Central American gyre described in the special features section. So what they're talking about is this tropical wave. It has now been absorbed into the Central American gyre right here. And if we take a look back at the satellite images, the rainbow satellite images, we can see the clouds associated with this tropical wave starting to come into the Central American gyre. You can also see a lot of showers and thunderstorms associated with the Central American gyre. All of these land masses here has to do with Central America, and there's this broad area of low pressure spinning bringing a lot of cloud showers and thunderstorms to the area, and it is also causing more of a southeasterly flow across the western and central Caribbean, including Jamaica, which explains most of the rainfall that section of southern and eastern Jamaica has been receiving for the past week or so. And what they're saying is that this is going to be continuing. More rainfall is definitely expected, especially across Central America, getting into Panama, sections of Colombia. Even although Colombia is in the northern portion of South America, they're definitely going to be getting nailed. Nicaragua, Honduras, Mexico, Guatemala, section of Belize. So if you have relatives or friends in those areas, check upon them, tell them to keep as safe as possible. Even if we take a look at the forecast, we're going to be seeing what's going to be happening regarding the Central American gyre, not to mention the amount of rainfall expected to come into portion of Jamaica. So we're looking at the greens, like what we're seeing on the key on the right, that represents some amount of rainfall, and we're looking at the timestamp right here at the top. So we're just going to be going on to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days, to see what's going to be happening. So going out in time, we're looking at the Euro model, by the way. You can see the rainfall associated with the tropical wave that's expected to be sucked up into the Central American gyre. This is 12Z on Sunday, which is actually 7 a.m. and we see that we have a lot of moisture right there to the south of Jamaica, to the southwest of the island especially. Some of that could definitely get into portion of the island as the day progresses on Sunday. Heading into Monday, Tuesday, we see that a lot of rainfalls now reached into the western Gulf of Mexico associated with that system that the Hurricane Center has been watching. And as we go out in time to the next 168 hours, we see that there's going to be some amount of moisture coming into portions of Jamaica by that time frame or before that time frame. As we take a look at the GFS model, let's start again. So we do see, just like what the Euro was showing, that rainfall off to the south and west of the island, some of which could definitely head into section of some southern parishes before all is said and done on Sunday. Then by around Tuesday, we see the broad area of low pressure right there, which could be a possible tropical depression or tropical storm in the western Gulf of Mexico. And we can also see that area that's expected to spin up right there to the east of the Bahamas, that's expected to head into portions of maybe Florida before the weekend. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, we're still focusing on Jamaica, and we see the greens represent rainfall that's expected from the southeast. So there's definitely a lot of rainfall to come. And we see that by the end of the 168 hours, we have consensus with the fact that there's going to be some amount of rainfall. Although the accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing that most of the rainfall should be across the waters closer to Central America, as we see all of those purples. We even see some yellows in there that represent up to 25 inches of rainfall. But Jamaica is definitely on the edge of that. We see some blues or represent up to 2 inches of rainfall or less. And we see the consensus on both the Euro and the GFS models. And even if we take a look at the Weather Nerds accumulated precipitation forecast, we actually see the difference. You know, the reds represent up to 1 inch or more. The purples represent up to 3 inches or more. And the blues, we can even see the blues right there across section of Central America. So they're definitely getting up to 25 inches of rainfall for sure. So sections of Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras, Nicaragua, all the way down into Costa Rica, Panama, and Colombia definitely getting nailed as we speak. All of that has to do with the Central American gyre. And the 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook from the U.S. National Hurricane Center makes sense, considering that they've highlighted this area across the southern portion or the southwestern portion of the Gulf of Mexico for a 60% chance of development. That just came out at 7:10 p.m. so a little before we started recording actually. So considering that it's 6:22 p.m. now, it came out at 6:10 p.m. And they've also highlighted that area off the east coast of Florida for a 20% chance of development within the next 7 days. But we're focusing our attention on Central America. And this is another page on Twitter that you need to follow if you haven't been following it as yet. They always find the accurate videos to post. They're called Volcaholic, and they show a lot of videos of the damage that some of these systems can cause. And they posted this today showing Barranquilla in Colombia this morning. Colombia is right there in northwestern South America, and we can see the very heavy rainfall, the inundation taking place, the flooding, lots of cars being swept away. Another video right here showing a wall that just collapsed in the flooding. We can see what's happening there, lots of flooding taking place, and that's just Colombia. Another video right here showing Colombia flooding out. It's definitely a serious matter that is unfolding, and it's not just Colombia but even Mexico. Look here, this was posted this morning at 7:37 a.m. saying Mexico last night. Lots of videos coming out showing the flooding, persons using boats to travel through streets. We see a stoplight right there. Another video right here, flooding coming into somebody's place. Another video right here, and even Honduras. So this one was posted yesterday at 7:10 p.m. showing flooding in Honduras. All of these are South American or Central American countries that are definitely being affected by the Central American gyre. And Jamaica is no stranger to this, because the Central American gyre wants to lift northward. Jamaica could definitely get in on some amount of rainfall. We've been getting that southerly flow. Hopefully we don't get it as tremendous as what they're getting with that tremendous flooding. But we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a damper on the heat that we're currently experiencing. And with the air expected to be very humid next week, it's definitely going to be feeling hotter and stickier than normal. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that the entire Atlantic basin is being dominated by a ridge of high pressure that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. Not to mention sending all of those tropical waves from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean, as well as the dust from the Sahara Desert across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see two troughs right here to the north of the eastern Caribbean. We can see the leftovers of the frontal system attached to an area of low pressure across the waters to the east of the United States. And if we actually take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the flow of clouds from east to west as usual, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure. We can see the clouds associated with the intertropical convergent zone, clouds associated with tropical waves, clouds associated with the trough, clouds associated with the frontal system, clouds associated with the Central American gyre, definitely doing a number on Central America and northwestern South America as we speak. We see that flow. If we actually look closely, we can see that southwesterly or westerly flow into that area, and then we have that southeasterly flow, which creates more of a turning to form some areas of low pressure. We'll see exactly what happens with that if we get some kind of a name in the western Gulf of Mexico. Either way, the tropical wave is definitely moving to the south of the island right now, and we see the thunderstorm clouds associated with it to the south of Jamaica. Jamaica in the clear for the most part as we speak. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, June 15. It was stated that we would have received some morning rainfall across sections of some eastern parishes in Jamaica. Then we would have some rainfall across sections of some northern and western parishes. And just for reference, we know eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, So Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on the top side of the island. So Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. And what ended up happening? We've been getting rainfall from the morning, but this post was made on our Twitter page at 11:40 a.m. Keep in mind that these posts aren't only made on our Twitter page, but they're made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica A76. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss, posts that you don't see here on our YouTube page. So at 11:40 a.m., the Cuban Doppler radar images were posted, and they show that we had some greens and some yellows that represent light to moderate to some slightly heavy rainfall coming into sections of St. Thomas. I was actually sleeping at the time, and I woke up to rain gushing off my roof. There was definitely some amount of rainfall taking place in my area at that time. It was definitely soaking rainfall, cool down the temperatures a bit, but with the humidity still gonna be feeling warm. Then by 2:25 p.m. we had another squall coming in from the southeast, as we can see here, into sections of St. Thomas. But we also had some amount of rainfall across sections of some northern parishes too. If we take a look at the latest visible satellite images, we can see that we had some clouds across northern Jamaica. Even sections of Hanover got in some of that earlier, but sections of St. Anne definitely getting in on the brunt of it before the sun was starting to go down with all of those thick clouds right there. So section of those areas definitely picked up on some isolated showers. That indeed confirms the rainfall for eastern, northern, and western Jamaica, more so Hanover and western Jamaica than anything else. And there was definitely some amount of sparkling white dots in there that represent some isolated thunder shower activity across St. Anne. And if we take a look at the latest Cuban Doppler radar images, we do see that we still have some stray showers coming into sections of maybe Portland, eastern St. Thomas as we speak. If we take a look right there to the southwest of the island, we can also see that rainfall associated with the tropical wave interacting with the Central American gyre, as well as all of that pushing off towards the northwest. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see about 29 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from a GFS is showing 18th on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday. And we do see Jamaica embedded in some yellows and some slight oranges that represent 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperatures for the month of June across Jamaica are about the same as 90 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 90 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 32.2 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32 to maybe 34 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Sunday. Taking a look at the dry air map, you know the dry air is represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we do see a lot of dry air off the coast of Africa, right there across the northern portion of the North Atlantic. Some dry air definitely across portions of the Windward Islands, stretching into portions of the Central Caribbean. And we know the dry air usually chokes off or prevents thunderstorms in a way. But what we don't want to see is the Saharan dust. And this is the forecast for the Saharan dust for 2 p.m. on Sunday. And we do see the darker browns that represent the Saharan dust across portions of Africa and the main development region. We know all of this is definitely pushing from east to west, all courtesy of the easterly flow brought about by the high pressure ridge. We can also see some browns that represent the Saharan dust across portions of the eastern Caribbean into the central western Caribbean, even Jamaica right here. But it is nothing too vigorous for us to see that. Evidently we don't see the very hazy skies, we don't see the respiratory illnesses being triggered in some people. What is more likely to do all of that with the hazy skies and the Saharan dust is the very vigorous plumage represented by these darker shades of browns. And we'll see if all of this pushes all the way westward and actually stays strong with all of that vigor. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, We still see those blues that we can see by the key on the bottom right that represents anywhere from 1 to 1.5 meter waves. And that's because the winds are going to be coming in still from the east to southeast in a way, averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots, as we can see by these brighter greens. And with the upper level winds coming in from the northwest, it could definitely favor some rainfall across sections of maybe sections of some, who knows, central and western parishes or northern and western parishes. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what happens. But whatever is coming off of the sea could affect eastern Jamaica again, and then either pile up across central and western parishes or northern and western parishes with some isolated afternoon rainfall. We don't see much in the way of morning rainfall across the island tomorrow, so we actually start the precipitation forecast for 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time. And where do we see the blues that represent rainfall? The GFS showing more of the rainfall across eastern Jamaica for 1 p.m. Even western Jamaica getting in on some of that. The Euro showing the blues that represent rainfall across most parishes. We know the Euro can get crazy sometimes, but we'll see which one of them wins. We actually look for consensus when it comes to these maps, and we see that yes, there's consensus for eastern and western Jamaica, but the Euro showing more rainfall across central Jamaica than anything else. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Even by about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 3 p.m. Jamaica time, we see the GFS showing more blues that represent rainfall across northern and western Jamaica. The Euro still showing that blue colors that represent rainfall across most parishes. We'll see how that goes, and I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on my other social media platforms. Either way, both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are showing rainfall is going to be affecting somewhere in Jamaica tomorrow. The Euro a bit more than the GFS. Euro showing up to at least 0.34 of an inch of rainfall across the south. GFS showing up to at least 0.22 of an inch of rainfall across the west. Either way, we'll take it, even though it's not that much and it's not that widespread. We're in the month of June. We're in our secondary rainy season. We usually receive up to 133.35 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get to put some kind of a damper on the very hot weather that we've been experiencing. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we still have that lingering frontal system attached to an airflow pressure, still affecting anywhere from Mexico all the way up into western Cuba, the Bahamas, Florida. We see the Central American gyre definitely doing a number on Central America and northwestern Colombia. Some rainfall into portion of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana as usual, associated with the intertropical convergence zone and numerous tropical waves. And we can see some clouds associated with the troughs across portions of the northeastern Caribbean. If we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean right now, we can see that there's definitely some amount of rainfall, hit or miss rainfall here or there, anywhere from Dominica northward to Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, US and British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and they've been getting it all day. If you even take a look at the Barbados radar, we do see some of that rainfall to the north of Barbados, heading into section of Dominica, Guadeloupe, section of Martinique. Some rainfall right there, heading into section of St. Vincent. Not much taking place across section of Trinidad and Tobago right now, just some ground clutter than anything else. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see that very heavy rainfall associated with the Central American gyre right there off the Nicaraguan coast. We can see some rainfall across sections of Mexico, Belize, section of Honduras, western Cuba, southern Florida, the Bahamas, section of Colombia, French Guiana as well. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we know the grays represent average temperatures, we know the blues represent below average temperatures, and we know the yellows and the oranges represent above normal temperatures. And we still have some amount of above normal temperatures still to be plaguing sections of the basin, as we can see here, the forecast for 1 p.m. on Sunday. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Sunday, we do see the burns that represent the Saharan dust still to be plaguing portions of the Caribbean, but we're indeed grateful that we're not getting in on this yet. The very vigorous plumage represented by the darker shades of brown, and we know it's definitely going to be pushing its way westward eventually to cause some amount of hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some people. Wave forecast still showing those lighter shades of blues to darker shades of blues that represent anywhere from 0.5 meter wave heights to 1.5 meter wave heights across majority of the Caribbean. And that's because the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots, maybe even gusting to 25 knots, where we see these yellows across the western Caribbean. And we see the general direction from the east across the eastern Caribbean curving towards the northwest across the central to the western Caribbean. As it relates to the rainfall forecast now, we do see that we're going to be experiencing more isolated shore activity anywhere from Cuba eastward to Cuba, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands in general, so the US and British Virgin Islands, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, Guadeloupe, Dominica. Some more rainfall, maybe isolated more than anything else, for sections of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. Even looking southward, we can see there's a lot of rainfall in store for sections of French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia, sections of Panama, Costa Rica, definitely Costa Rica with all of these purples that represent some heavy rainfall, sections of Nicaragua, El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala as well. Tremendous rainfall considering that this is the 24-hour total, so there's definitely going to be some life-threatening flash floods taking place, all courtesy of the Central American gyre. Sections of Belize and even Mexico are going to be getting on some of that as well. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher, even the Cayman Island. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.